Hello to all you beautiful people of the internet. Welcome to another character profile, and this time we are looking at Alpha. She is female, her hair colour is unknown, but she is bald, and she is aged late 30s. Before the apocalypse, we have no idea who she was, but after the apocalypse, she was the former leader of the Whisperers. Not much there is known about Alpha, except that she had a daughter named Lydia. After the outbreak, Alpha survived the initial stages of the outbreak, after which time she and her daughter either joined or formed a group of many survivors that eventually evolved to become the Whisperers. She eventually became their leader. Based on what she said to another Whisperer, she may have fought for her place as leader several times before. In the volume A New Beginning, after Dante attacks the Whisperers who killed Doug and the other Hilltop Guard, he goes to check to see how they had attacked him. Later, Alpha comes up behind him and aims her shotgun at him. In the volume Whispers into Screams, Alpha holds Dante at gunpoint, explaining that these are the Whisperers' lands and his people will learn to fear them. Alpha is then seen at the gates of the hilltop. She introduces herself along with her army to Maggie. Alpha removes her mask and shows her face, claiming to mean no harm. She claims to only want her daughter Lydia. In exchange, she will give back Ken and Dante, who are unharmed. The trade proceeds with Ken and Dante returning to the hilltop, and Lydia goes back with the Whisperers. Lydia thanks her mother for saving her, but she replies that Lydia should call her Alpha like everybody else. Alpha, Lydia, and the Whisperers depart into the forest. Alpha is then seen marching in the woods with her daughter beside her and the entire Whisperer army. Alpha says that Lydia should stay in the center because she doesn't have a skin suit and they'll have to craft another one. To which Lydia replies that she tried to tend to her suit as best as she could. Seemingly unknown to her, she is being followed by Carl. In the volume Life and Death, when the boy stops to rest, Alpha approaches him, asking why he followed them. Carl responds he wanted to make sure Lydia is safe, and makes it clear that it was his decision to do so, and the hilltop has nothing to do with it. After a brief conversation, Carl is allowed to travel with them to their camp. While traveling to their camp, Alpha tells Carl that they don't have camps and instead live how they were intended to live, without shelter instead of huddling together for warmth. They then arrive to a large group of people disguised in the same costumes with campfires, livestock, and other necessities. Soon, Alpha approaches Carl and, after noticing the latest aggression, reminds him that he's still a captive. She announces that there is no other way and that she must learn more about Carl's people. Later on, Alpha manages to sneak inside Alexandria's safe zone to learn more about the communities. She meets Earl Sutton, who was asking about her work, machetes and spears she is showing off at her tent. He asks her how long she joined the communities, which she responds she joined them very recently. Sorry if you can hear stuff in the background. Alpha manages to get back to the Whisperers' camp, where Rick Grimes is already there to save his son. She then approaches and says that she isn't impressed upon seeing Rick after all the things she had heard about him. Rick tells him he does not appreciate being held captive and would like to leave with Carl. Alpha says that she wishes he was never held captive. Alpha is holding a blood-stained machete. Alpha says that she encountered some trouble on the road and it was unavoidable. Rick asks her what she has done and if she has hurt Andrea or Michonne after being punched by a Whisperer. Rick says that he will remember this as he wipes the blood off from his mouth. Alpha tells one of her people to go clean the machete and then tells Rick that he is in no position to threaten her and needs to be broken of the habit of threats. She tells Rick that the two of them will be going for a walk as Rick shouts that he will not leave Carl. Alpha threatens to kill Carl if Rick does not comply, forcing him to cooperate. Rick is now at the gunpoint, but by Alpha as they walk. The duo pass an overgrown gas station and a freeway. Rick asks her that if she planned on killing him, she would have saved them both a lot of time. Alpha states that although she is willing to kill Rick, she has no desire to. Alpha tells Rick to stop talking and to keep his voice down. Rick then asks Alpha where she is taking him as Alpha points to a building ahead of them. Alpha and Rick approach a 4-story building with a small water tower on top. Alpha tells Rick that the building is clear and the two will go all the way to the roof of the building. Alpha tells Rick to go to the edge and look. She tells Rick that she wants him to see that she will destroy everything he has built in this world, everyone he has loved in this world, and that is not an empty threat. Rick then looks over the edge and Alpha to see a massive herd below. After showing Rick the massive horde of roamers, Alpha takes him off the building and takes him back to the Whisperer's camp. Rick asks Alpha what she wants from him. She replies he has nothing to offer her. She proceeds to mock Rick's fake way of life and say how they are like children playing pretend. You built a shrine to a world long dead. Alpha says how her people are the ones who live truly and live a life of freedom. Rick then questions her about her ideology about the Whisperers being free, despite them referring to their leader as Alpha and having to sleep in the cold and wear dead human skin. As Alpha and Rick return to the Whisperers camp, Rick tells Carl that they can live peacefully. However, Carl refuses to leave Lydia. He tells Rick that the Whisperers, Lydia, and Alpha allows it, and he confronts Alpha about it. She claims that is a power of the natural world and making it excusable. Lydia breaks down, telling what has happened to her. Telling her what has happened to her, and Alpha is disgusted by her show of emotion and strikes her across the face, calling her weak. She preaches how in order to survive in the new world, one needs to be strong, and she too breaks down. Rick separates them, and Alpha whispers to him that they could provide the safety to Lydia that she could not. She then disowns Lydia and tells her to go with Rick and Carl. Alpha informs Rick that she has marked a border that separates them and the Whisperers, and that they are not to cross that border, or her horde will cross into their side. Rick takes Carl and Lydia and they leave. Sorry, I'm glitching. In the volume No Turning Back, Alpha wanders into the forest and stops, propping up against a tree and begins to cry until she is greeted by a fellow Whisperer. The Whisperer understands that Alpha is upset for sending Lydia away, but she thinks she did the right thing, since Lydia wasn't strong enough to be part of their group. Alpha worries that he thinks her weak for showing emotions. He assures her she won't have to worry about him, but urges her to make sure no one else will know. She agrees and swiftly cuts his throat. Another Whisperer witnesses the end of the confrontation and asks what happened. She tells him that the other Whisperer had tried to challenge her for a position. She wipes the knife clean and they walk away, leaving the body to be processed by the land. In the volume Call to Arms, as he arrives at the Whisperer's camp, Negan jovially talks about the type of skin suit he would like after joining them, as he is taken to Alpha. Alpha demands to know who he is. Negan introduces himself, then declares that he is in love. Alpha proceeds to interrogate Negan as to who he is and what his business is within their lands, while constantly having to reject Negan's advances towards her, which she deems annoying. When Beta intervenes in their conversation, revealing Negan's lie about his affiliation with the Alexandria Safe Zone and its allies, and about to be an escaped prisoner, Beta declines Beta's request to kill Negan. Alpha asks Negan if he's afraid of dying, and then asks why he came to them. Negan pleasantly suggested he had a hell of a lot to offer her and the Whisperers. Beta questions Alpha, saying that Negan is breaking all the rules they abide by. Alpha roughly asks Beta if he's challenging her. Beta immediately drops to one knee and apologizes. Alpha forgives him and tells him to leave. Negan mockingly bends his knee, asking if Alpha accepts him as a part of the Whisperers. She does, but when Negan asks, says he cannot have a skin suit until he earns it. Later, Negan is attacked by two walkers and pinned down. Alpha tells him that he has earned his knife back and gives it to him, allowing him to kill the walkers. After witnessing the attempted of a young Whisperer, Negan questions Alpha's leadership of the Whisperers. He calls her an animal, to which she agrees. She tells him that this is nature and it is the only way people will get stronger. She replies that she has to be strong for the Whisperers, and then admits that she will let her daughter be. She tells Negan that she is not strong. Negan opens up to her, but then tells her that it's all a game, Alpha, and you're not effing winning. She says that maybe Negan does belong with them. Negan replies that maybe he does, and proceeds to slit Alpha's throat and cut her head off, saying he doesn't want to be with them. And in the volume The Whisperer War, Beta finds Alpha's headless corpse and mourns her loss. Some of the Whisperers arrive and know that Negan isn't there to claim his title. Beta said he would never allow him to become the Alpha, and that he did not intend to claim the title himself. He doesn't want there to be another Alpha ever. They will be guided by her words. He informs that they will kill everyone. Later, Negan presents Alpha's decapitated and zombified head to Rick and Andrea. It can be assumed she was put down, as there was no reason to keep her head. That will be it for Alpha. Thank you all very much for listening. What did you think of this character, and what would you do if you control it with her fate? Do you think the TV series did her justice, or do you think it should have stuck with the comic route? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you like what you see, please leave a like and subscribe. If you don't like what you see, either leave a dislike or go away. I don't really care. And have a good day.